This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Taking a look at the 5-minute chart. So I'm still looking at the chart from Monday, and then I've got the first 5-minute candle on from today. This is really how things opened up, what I was looking at. Obviously, I didn't have any more of the candles of the day. But what happened is we opened right on this downtrend line that I had drawn in here yesterday, and ran right up into this support line that broke down into the day yesterday. And this is where I was looking for it to go bullish, and I lost less than an hour here yesterday. I don't remember mentioning that in the video. But at this level, it's like, okay, we're right back up here. And while we have a resistance we're running into here, we also have both this downtrend line and this old support possibly acting as new resistance again. It acted as new resistance here and continued to be resistance here. I thought maybe it's going to continue to that today. And that's why I set up a trade looking for this to roll over, and got in to this put. So I got into the 3,000 put expiring this Friday with a entry at 7. So we didn't quite make it down to 7 yet. I'm telling you a little bit of what happened into the future, but entry 7 by 6, and we can step it forward a little bit. And it made that candle. While I was making that candle, I triggered the order. I'm like, okay, this is even if it pushes a little bit above this, it's still holding this level. It was still holding right up here before this candle closed. It hadn't dropped all of this way yet, and it filled at 7. And I felt stupid because I thought it was early and I was about to get stopped out. It came all the way down to 632. And I thought, okay, for sure, it's just going to keep on pushing up, and it's going to be one of those rally for 25 minutes kind of days. And then it wasn't. And it did start to roll over. And so we'll step it forward a little bit more. Even though it was rolling over further, the next candle was tiny right at 7. And again, I felt like, I'm wrong. This isn't right. But then you got the drop on the call while this was happening. It's like, okay, it's working on the stock and it's working on the call. It's just not working on the put. Why is it not working on the put? So obviously part of the reason is it's out of the money, and it's out of the money by, from at this point, about 125 points. So I was early. I could have waited. I could have waited for it to do all of this. And that's the great thing about options is you have more time, even though they are time based, you have more time to get into the ones and catch the move. And so, yeah, it just wasn't moving on the put. So we'll step it forward a little bit more here, and then it started to move. Got up to 8. While this plummeted down here, I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance. It pauses here. Here's this downtrend, and this one just kept going lower here and kept going lower. We'll speed this up a little bit more. We don't have to go through 5-minute candles. Actually, I'll slow it back down. But then this candle came in. When it came all the way down here, it spiked up to 11. I had my target set at 10, which was pretty much the open high. And so I got in at 7, stop at 6, and was out at 10. I obviously did not buy the low and did not sell at the high, but I made a nice 3R in less than 20 minutes, which was really cool. Actually, I think it took 13 minutes, which I love when those trades move quickly like that. And then because it made such a large candle, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait on this and kind of see what happens and let it play out a little bit. And when I was letting it play out, it went sideways for quite a while. When it made a big candle like that, it just went sideways for quite a while. The calls continued to just go sideways. Here, I'll show all the call here. So this is what we had drawn in. I did the right extension here to see where this would interact, if anywhere, and it did end up interacting a little bit further into the day here. And then we closed right on this line, which was pretty crazy to see. But then the put, it started to put in this really nice base just below 8, about 775. I thought, okay, that's a really nice area. Let's see if we can break this. If we can break this put, then the call should get going. Maybe not this call, because at this point, this call is about 200 points out of the money, and you're not really going to see it rally as well if we do get a really nice move in the stock. we'll probably have to look at a closer call. So I did do that. I started looking at the 3,200 call, and while while this was putting in, let's see, where was it? No. Yeah, this was putting in a really nice base through here, and then it broke down. And when it broke down is the same time that this same put, 3,000 put rallied, and the stock broke down, basically rejected the 21, continued to roll over, and come down to the same line again down here. And when it was coming in down here, I thought this is a great place for this to bounce. It's kind of a hammer candle here. And let's see, this is the 1120 candle. At 1124, as this candle was about to close, I got into the 3,200 call. So at 1124, it was right at $8. So I got in 8 by 7. Let's see, 850. Sorry, 850 by 750 at 824. And again, I was a little bit early because actually, no, I probably get the last 850 that was possible because the next two candles, the lows were 855. So I would have had to move my entry up a little bit to get in, but I got in at 850 on this candle right before it closed, and thought, okay, if this is gonna rally, it's a great place to rally. It's a Morningstar reversal. It's a hammerish candle. At least we could rally up to this line. So I drew this line in. This wasn't here yesterday. It's actually a channel, and it's a pretty big channel. It's easier to see in an hourly. But I was looking back to see, okay, if we're going to hold some support, where are we bouncing? And we've been doing this back and forth in here. Like I said, it's easier to see in an hourly. It's a little cleaner on an hourly, but this is what we've been doing the last few days. So I drew it on the hourly, tried to catch some of the closes and opens, tried to touch each of these candles, and just to see where that would line up today, thinking, okay, we've got some confluence with some lines coming together. Let's see if something is going to work out. And just drew it in. And that was when we broke down on that line. Going back to the 5 minute. Sorry, it's bouncing around. I'm going back into the 5 minute here. I drew that in around this time and here, thinking we could get a bounce. That's a nice hammer here. We could go higher, and it didn't. And I didn't just get into the trade because I didn't have the same kind of, like I said, confluence between the options, the options in the stock. So this was a nice support. This is a nice support, but there wasn't any sort of clear resistance hitting here. The resistance was up here. The next line I could see was this downtrending line here. We would have needed to push up into that again. And we did over here at this point, but that was once we had broken down. So I didn't see the confluence at this time to think we are going to go bullish from here. And I waited. And I didn't think to go bearish. Had I thought to go bearish, it would have been a great entry. Getting in here either 775 or 8 by 7. 8 by 7 would have been great because you had 15 minutes through here as this is starting to break down. So even this candle could have been getting in at 8 by 7. And then that would have been a really similar move to this one where I got in 7 by 6, went up to 11. I could have done 8 by 7 and went up to 12 where it actually did go. That would have been 3 or 4R. I missed this move, and it happened so quick here. Went straight there. You had the breakdown of the call, but then as the call started to recover and came right back into this price, that's when I drew in this line to see that, okay, we hit this high again like yesterday. So this is the yesterday's high back over here, and no, not that price. Sorry, that was here. This is the low towards the end of the day yesterday where we ran into this high on the put, and then we're running into this high in the put, and we're down here. This seemed like a good place to possibly reverse. And so as this started to reverse, like I said, 1124, as this candle was about to close, I saw this reversing, evening star reversal, morning star reversal here. Breaking back above this line. I thought if I can get in at this line or close to it, 850, that's going to be a really great risk to reward. Again, 850 by 750. And I can just let this ride for a while because we should get some movement up. We should get some nice momentum further up. And We came right back up into this line. Again, this is the channel line. We did a little stair step there, and then with another hammer continued higher. At this point, we're above the 21 and continuing to push higher here. Does another bit of a, this is almost a rest after battle. So you have a couple of bearish candles that kind of step a little bit lower, bookended by some bullish candles. And, this continues on up. Let me get back on only today now, because we're far enough into the day. Let's see. Okay, so this is only today. This is only today. And so, where was it? As this is pulling back, I moved my stop up to first 950, and then I was going to move it to 10 after it did some of this. And I thought, you know what? I want to lock more of this in. My original target was at 3R. So going from 850 up to 1150. And when I saw that it was holding this level, wasn't rolling over, as I saw it was holding this level, I thought, I've got in my rules that if I can get my stop up to 3R or further up, then I can aim for more R's than that. And so I got the stop up actually to 4.5 R after this move, and moved my target up to 16.5. And when it was up over here, I moved my stop up to the $13 price. That was 4.5 R. And that was a nice level with some earlier resistance. Would have been a great target up here as well. I was just aiming for the $12 price, because that, or the 1150 price, because that was 3R, but there wasn't any clear, I guess a couple candles here similar to these, but I like the indecision of this candle a little bit more. But it worked out nice to have my stop at 13, and just, again, hoping it wouldn't pull back to that. And then it did. And then I saw this rally start to happen. It's like, oh, now it's going to stop me out or trail me out and go up to my 16.5 target for 8R, and it didn't. So it kind of petered out there. I was really hoping we would have a little more of a higher high from earlier in the day at this point. We did that yesterday, where we had this kind of uptrend here. We had a few, we had a high, a little bit of a higher high, another higher high. I was looking for this kind of push higher over here, that we would at least get above this upper wick and push up into maybe 3150. And that's why I thought the 1650 price would be hit. Obviously we didn't do that, but if it didn't hit that, I didn't want to be holding it all the way back down to 3R, all the way back down to 1150. I'm like, I'll just tighten this up. I've got a nice stair step here on the option, and we'll hold that at 13. And I got positive slippage on that. So it exited at 1305. And so this trade from 850 up to 1305 was actually 4.55 R plus the 3R from earlier. So it was a little bit better than a 7.5 hour day with just those two trades. And like I said, I missed this one, which could have been 3 or 4 R. So all total, it could have been like a 10 plus R day, which I just had one of those on Friday. So go back and watch the Friday video if you want to see how I played those. So yeah, it's really cool, and they work out so well. I was looking to see if another trade would work when this started to roll over. We didn't make it back up into this resistance line right here. So that, okay, this is a good place to look for the puts. At this point, the put was putting in a lower base around 6. And I had drawn in a couple downtrending lines looking for it to make a really clean break. So this one, it didn't. It hit this, came back down, and then I realized this is just really chopping sideways, and the moves have already happened. Oops, not what I wanted to click. So this was really sideways and wasn't going to give me the real direction that I needed, to get into another one of these with a 1R risk and looking for 3R. Even if it had a bigger push, you have this resistance, at, or 775. It just didn't have enough room to get back up to something. And I could have looked at another put probably a little bit closer to get that kind of move, but I mean, I didn't, you know. So if we look at that, let's see if we look at like a 30.50 put to see if that had any more movement. So it had a nice base around 10.50, and that made it up to 13.40. So this didn't even make a 3R move here. If we had bought the low at this price and gotten out at the high, that's still not 3R, and that's the 30.50. And that's probably all I would have been comfortable with $100 risk. Any closer, and it's harder to have your risk with one option being 100, and yeah, even this, there's so much less volume here that you don't know exactly what price you're going to get filled. You also don't know exactly what price you're going to be stopped out of, and there could be much bigger slippage on these that only that just have much lighter volume. So I tried just to focus on charting the ones that have the larger volume. Same with the calls. I looked at like the 32.50, and it just wasn't moving as much. Now, granted, you could have had a 3R move here, definitely. But there's other ones that, so this one has a little bit lighter volume. So you can see when you have these sideways, just single price ticks, those are the ones that just don't, you just don't have as much volume. And so you got to be really careful. Sometimes you can take the trade if you get a really good fill, really good price, and you're able to watch it and able to move your stop quickly. But I stuck to the 3200, which had really solid volume all the way throughout the day, and the 3000 put still, mainly because we just moved closer to it today. And we'll see, it was a really nice high wave candle, indecision candle today, similar volume to the last few days where we've been continuing lower. We'll see if we can get another push back down to 3100 and what we do from there. If we break down that with a stronger break or come back up and retest, if we do something like we did today, where we come down into this line and break down, I'll look to take the same kind of trade if I have a similar line. But if we pull back up into this channel line and roll over, this could go much lower. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But if you look for the confluence on the options and looking for that to help you select the lows and the highs of the trade, it can really set up well. So that's what worked out today. Hope this helps. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.